Morgan Reed had been with Kyle for 2 years when he asked for an open relationship over dinner at their favorite Italian restaurant. Not just any dinner, their anniversary dinner. 2 years to the day since their first date at that same restaurant, when Kyle had been charming and attentive and had made Morgan feel like maybe, finally, she'd found someone worth keeping. She should have known something was off when he'd suggested coming here instead of trying somewhere new. Kyle loved new things, new restaurants, new bars, new experiences. He was always scrolling through social media, finding the next trendy spot. The fact that he wanted familiar should have been a red flag, but Morgan had been pleased. She'd thought he was being sentimental, romantic. She'd worn a new dress specifically for the occasion, navy blue, fitted, the kind that made her feel confident and beautiful. She'd even left work early to get her hair done, something she rarely did. 2 years felt significant, milestone-worthy. Morgan had been thinking about their future lately, where this relationship was heading, whether Kyle might propose soon, what their life together could look like long-term. Apparently, Kyle had been thinking about their future too, just in a very different direction. "I've been thinking," Kyle had said, setting down his wine glass with the careful precision of someone who'd rehearsed this speech. "We're great together. Really great. But we're young, you know? We shouldn't limit ourselves to just one person when there's so much life to experience." Morgan had stared at him, fork halfway to her mouth, her brain struggling to process what he was saying. "What?" "An open relationship. We stay together, keep what we have, but we're also free to explore other connections. No pressure, no jealousy, just healthy adult communication about our needs." He'd said it like he was proposing a business merger. Calm, rational, completely reasonable. Morgan had set down her fork carefully. "You want to see other people." "I want us both to have the freedom to see other people. It's not about you not being enough, Morgan. It's about not limiting our experiences based on arbitrary societal expectations about monogamy." Arbitrary societal expectations. She'd repeated it flatly. "Exactly. Look, I've been reading about this. Ethical non-monogamy is totally normal. Lots of couples do it. It actually makes relationships stronger because you're choosing each other every day instead of staying together out of obligation." Morgan had looked at him, really looked at him, and seen a stranger. Kyle, her boyfriend of 2 years. Kyle, who'd met her parents last Christmas. Kyle, who had a drawer in her apartment and a key to her place. Kyle, who was now explaining why he should be allowed to sleep with other women while keeping her on standby. "Is there someone specific?" she'd asked quietly. "What? No, this isn't about anyone else. This is about us, about evolving as a couple." "Kyle, is there someone specific?" He'd hesitated just long enough to confirm everything. "There's a client, Brittany. We've been talking, and there's chemistry, but I haven't done anything because I respect our relationship too much. That's why I'm having this conversation with you first. Being honest. Asking permission. Permission, like she was his mother, and he was asking to stay out past curfew. So you want an open relationship, so you can sleep with Brittany guilt-free. I want an open relationship so we can both explore connections without guilt. You could see other people too. It goes both ways." Morgan had laughed, but it came out bitter. "Right. Because I have so much time to date other people between my 60-hour work weeks and trying to maintain a relationship with you. That's not fair. What's not fair is you asking me this on our anniversary. What's not fair is you already having someone picked out. What's not fair is you framing this as something enlightened and evolved when really you just want to cheat with permission." "Morgan, I need to think about it." She'd left the restaurant, driven home alone, and spent the night staring at her ceiling wondering when everything had fallen apart. The next morning, Morgan dragged herself to work, feeling like she'd been hit by a truck. She was executive assistant to Emilio Ricci, which meant she needed to be sharp, focused, and completely on top of her game every single day. The position was demanding in ways her previous jobs had never been. Morgan didn't just manage Emilio's schedule. She anticipated his needs, handled sensitive information, interfaced with clients who were often more dangerous than they appeared, and maintained absolute discretion about everything she saw and heard. She'd been hired 2 years ago, fresh out of her MBA program, and had somehow survived Emilio's impossibly high standards through a combination of competence, dedication, and the ability to stay calm under pressure. She'd outlasted 3 other assistants who'd quit within months, unable to handle the intensity. Emilio Ricci didn't tolerate incompetence or distraction. He ran Ricci Enterprises, a sprawling network of real estate holdings, import-export businesses, luxury car dealerships, and various other ventures that Morgan had learned not to ask too many questions about. The legitimate businesses were impressive enough. The less legitimate aspects were part of working for a man whose family had deep roots in Boston's Italian community and connections that went back generations. He was demanding, exacting, and had impossibly high standards for everyone around him. But he was also fair. He paid Morgan twice what she'd made at her previous corporate job, gave her generous bonuses when she exceeded expectations, which was often, and had created a work environment where excellence was expected but also rewarded. He was also unfairly attractive, which Morgan had spent 2 years carefully not thinking about because she had a boyfriend, and Emilio was her boss, and thinking about your boss that way was completely inappropriate. Not that Emilio ever gave her any indication he saw her as anything other than his assistant. He was professional, respectful, never crossed lines. He remembered her coffee order, gave her generous bonuses, and occasionally asked about her weekend plans in that polite way bosses did when they were being decent human beings. But he was still intimidating. Tall, dark-haired, sharp-featured, with the kind of presence that made boardrooms go quiet and competitors nervous. At 38, he'd built an empire through sheer will and strategic brilliance. He was the kind of man who noticed everything and forgot nothing, which was why Morgan knew she was in trouble the moment she walked into his office that morning with his coffee and the daily briefing. "Good morning," she said, setting down the espresso exactly how he liked it. Emilio looked up from his computer, and his expression shifted immediately. "What's wrong?" "Nothing. I have your schedule for today. Morgan." He stood, moved around his desk. "What happened?" "I'm fine, really. Just didn't sleep well." She forced a smile. "You have a 9 a.m. with the Singapore investors, then. Did someone hurt you?" The directness of the question threw her. "What? No, I'm fine." "You're not fine. You look like you've been crying." His hand came up like he was going to touch her face, then dropped. "Tell me what happened." Morgan felt tears prick her eyes and blinked them back furiously. She would not cry at work. She would not cry in front of her boss. She would not. "My boyfriend asked for an open relationship last night." The words came out before she could stop them. And once they started, they kept coming. "At dinner, on our anniversary, he said he wants to see other people but also keep dating me. He already has someone picked out, a client named Brittany. And he framed it like he was being evolved and ethical, when really he just wants permission to cheat, while keeping me as his safety net." She stopped, horrified at herself. "I'm so sorry. That was completely inappropriate. I shouldn't have—" "What did you say?" Emilio's voice was dangerously quiet. "I said I needed to think about it. I didn't know what else to say. I was blindsided." "No. What are you going to say?" Morgan looked up at him, confused. "I don't know. I mean, I can't just— He's been my boyfriend for 2 years. We have a life together. Maybe he's right. Maybe monogamy is arbitrary and I'm being closed-minded." "Stop." Emilio's hand came up to her chin, tilting her face up to meet his eyes. "Listen to me very carefully. Your boyfriend is an idiot who doesn't deserve you. He's asking for an open relationship because he wants to have his cake and eat it too. He wants you waiting at home while he screws around, and the moment you exercise that same freedom, he'll lose his mind." You don't know that. I absolutely know that. Men like him always do. They frame it as enlightened and progressive, but really they're just selfish and cowardly. They want the comfort of a relationship without the commitment of actually being faithful. Morgan stared at him. She'd never heard Emilio talk like this, personal, intense, with barely controlled anger simmering beneath his professional veneer. "Why do you care?" she asked quietly. "Because I've watched you for 2 years." His thumb traced her jawline. "I've watched you be brilliant and dedicated and completely undervalued by a man who doesn't appreciate what he has. And I've kept my distance because you were taken, and I'm not the kind of man who poaches another man's girlfriend. But if he's stupid enough to let you go, even hypothetically, then all bets are off." Morgan's breath caught. "Emilio, have dinner with me tonight." "What?" "Dinner. You and me. Actual date. Not work, not networking. A real date where I take you somewhere beautiful and spend the entire evening proving to you that you deserve better than some mediocre boyfriend who wants an open relationship." "I can't. Kyle and I haven't officially." "He asked for an open relationship. That means you're free to see other people. Those are his rules. So see other people. Starting with me. Tonight. 7 p.m. This is insane. You're my boss." "At work, yes. Outside of work, I'm just a man who's been interested in you since the day you walked into your interview wearing a gray dress and looking terrified. A man who's been professionally appropriate for 2 years because you had a boyfriend. A man who is now done being appropriate because your boyfriend was stupid enough to give me an opening." Morgan's heart was hammering. "You've been interested in me for 2 years?" "From day one. But I don't chase taken women. I have standards, and respect, and self-control." His hand dropped. "But your boyfriend just freed you up. So now I'm asking, dinner, tonight, say yes." "Why?" "Because you deserve someone who knows your worth. Because watching you settle for someone who treats you like an option is killing me. Because I want to show you what it's like to be someone's first choice, not their backup plan." He stepped back, giving her space. "And because I'm done pretending I don't want you." Morgan should say no. Should maintain professional boundaries. Should figure out her situation with Kyle before jumping into something else. Instead, she heard herself say, "Okay. Okay? Yes. Dinner. Tonight. 7 p.m. Emilio's smile was slow and absolutely devastating. "Good. Wear something you feel beautiful in. I'll pick you up at your apartment." "You know where I live?" "I'm your boss. I know everything about you." At her expression, he added, "Your address is on your employment paperwork." Not stalking, just practical. After he dismissed her, Morgan returned to her desk in a daze. What had she just agreed to? A date with her boss. The same day her boyfriend asked for an open relationship. This was crazy. This was reckless. This was... Her phone buzzed. Kyle. "Hey babe, thought about it more last night. I really think this could be good for us. Fresh energy, new experiences. Brittany and I are having lunch today to discuss a project. Probably won't be home until late. Love you." Morgan stared at the text. Not even 24 hours and he was already making plans with Brittany. Didn't even pretend it was fully professional. She typed back, "Okay, I have plans tonight too, actually. Don't wait up." His response was immediate. "Plans? What plans?" "You said open relationship. That means I can see other people too. I have a date." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, what? With who? When did this happen? I thought we were going to talk about this first. Morgan smiled grimly. Emilio had called it. Not even 1 day, and Kyle was already losing his mind at the thought of her actually exercising the freedom he'd demanded. She didn't respond. Let him stew. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Morgan worked on autopilot, handling calls and emails and scheduling while her mind spun with what she'd agreed to. At 5 p.m., Emilio appeared at her desk. "Go home. Get ready. I'll pick you up at 7. "My work isn't done." "I'm the boss. I'm telling you your work is done. Go home, Morgan." She went home, stood in front of her closet for 20 minutes before settling on a black dress that made her feel confident and beautiful, did her makeup carefully, curled her hair, looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman looking back. This morning she'd been devastated. Now she was getting ready for a date with Emilio Ricci. Her phone buzzed repeatedly. Kyle, calling, texting, increasingly frantic messages. "Morgan, we need to talk about this. I didn't mean you should immediately start dating someone else. Who is he? Do I know him? This isn't what I meant by open relationship. Can you please just call me back?" Morgan ignored them all. At 7 p.m. exactly, her doorbell rang. She opened it to find Emilio in a dark suit, holding flowers, looking at her like she was the only woman in the world. "You're beautiful," he said simply. "Thank you." She took the flowers, peonies, her favorite, which he somehow knew. "Let me just put these in water. Take your time." While she arranged the flowers, Emilio waited in her doorway, his presence filling her small apartment. When she turned around, he was watching her with an intensity that made her skin warm. "Ready?" he asked. "Ready." He drove her to a restaurant on the waterfront. Expensive, exclusive, the kind of place that required reservations weeks in advance. The kind of place Morgan had never been to, because Kyle always chose trendy spots he'd seen on Instagram, instead of places with actual quality. The host greeted Emilio by name, with the kind of deference that spoke to either regular patronage or significant influence, probably both. He led them to a private table on an outdoor terrace with a view of the harbor, Boston's lights reflecting off the water in the gathering dusk. It was breathtaking. "Do you bring all your assistants here?" Morgan asked after they'd been seated and handed wine menus that didn't list prices. "I've never brought anyone from work here. This isn't a work dinner. This is personal." Emilio leaned back in his chair, his attention focused entirely on her. "This is me taking you somewhere I actually like instead of somewhere designed to impress. Though I hope you're impressed anyway." "I am. This is beautiful." "You're beautiful. The view is just adequate." He smiled at her expression. "Too much?" "A little, but I don't mind." Morgan took a sip of the wine that had appeared without either of them ordering. Apparently Emilio had his preferences known here. "I'm not used to this." "To what?" "Being pursued. Kyle never pursued me, not really. We just sort of fell into dating. Convenience and proximity and good enough timing. But you're..." She gestured helplessly. "You're doing the whole courtship thing. Flowers, fancy dinners, actual effort." "That's because I actually want you. Want to know you. Want to prove I'm worth your time and attention." He reached across the table. "Kyle took you for granted. I won't. That's a promise." They talked through dinner, course after course of incredible Italian food that put Kyle's anniversary restaurant to shame. About her childhood in Colorado, about moving to Boston for grad school and falling in love with the city. About her family, small, just her and her mom, who'd raised her alone after her father had left when Morgan was 5. About wanting to eventually do something more than be an assistant, but not knowing what, feeling stuck between ambition and uncertainty. Emilio told her about growing up in the North End, about being the oldest of 3 siblings and feeling the weight of family expectations from childhood. About taking over his father's business at 30, not because he'd wanted to, but because it was expected, because family legacy was everything in his world. About the weight of carrying on traditions while trying to modernize, trying to make the business cleaner while still maintaining the power structure that had kept his family influential for generations. "Do you ever wish you'd done something different?" Morgan asked as their entrees arrived. "Something completely separate from your family?" all the time. When I was younger, I wanted to be an architect. I loved designing things, creating something from nothing. I had a whole portfolio for college applications. He smiled, but it was tinged with something bittersweet. My father threw it away, said Ricci men don't draw buildings, they own them. That our legacy was power, not paper. That's harsh. That's family, especially families like mine. He took a sip of wine. But I can't walk away from it entirely. This is who I am now, what I've built. I can try to make it better, cleaner, more legitimate, but the foundation is what it is. And you're okay with that? Most days. Some days I wonder what life would look like if I'd walked away at 21, moved across the country, started fresh. His eyes met hers, but then I wouldn't have met you. So on balance, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Morgan felt her breath catch. You can't just say things like that. Why not? It's true. They finished dinner around 10. Emilio drove her home, walked her to her door like a gentleman. Thank you for tonight, Morgan said. For the dinner, the conversation, all of it. I needed this. Thank you for saying yes. He touched her face gently. Morgan, I need to tell you something. Okay? Your boyfriend asking for an open relationship was the best thing that could have happened, because it gave me permission to finally pursue what I've wanted for 2 years. And now that I have you, I'm not letting you go. Emilio, I know it's fast. I know you need time to process everything with Kyle. But I need you to know, this isn't casual for me. This isn't me taking advantage of your vulnerability. This is me being honest about wanting you, pursuing you properly, and making it very clear that I see you as more than just my assistant. What do you see me as? As mine. He said it simply. If you'll have me. Morgan should say this was too fast, should pump the brakes, should be reasonable. Instead, she said, kiss me. Emilio smiled and pulled her close. His kiss was nothing like Kyle's. No hesitation, no uncertainty. Just complete confidence and desire, and the feeling of being wanted without question. When they pulled apart, Morgan was breathless. Tomorrow, Emilio said, you're going to tell Kyle it's over. Not because I'm asking you to, because you deserve better than someone who treats you like an option. And then, once you're officially single, I'm taking you on a proper second date, and a third. And as many as it takes for you to understand that this is real. What is this? Me dating you, properly, openly, with the full intention of making you mine in every way that matters. He kissed her forehead and left. Morgan went inside and sat on her couch, touching her lips, her mind spinning. 24 hours ago, her boyfriend had asked for an open relationship. Now she was dating her boss, and she didn't regret it at all. Her phone buzzed. Kyle again. Where are you? Who were you with? Why aren't you answering me? Morgan looked at the message, thought about Emilio's kiss, and typed back, we need to talk. Come by tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. She was done being someone's backup plan. It was time to be someone's first choice. And Emilio Ricci had made it very clear she was his. Kyle showed up at Morgan's apartment at 8:50 a.m., 10 minutes early and clearly agitated. He looked like he hadn't slept, hair disheveled, shirt wrinkled, eyes red-rimmed from either lack of sleep or crying or both. What the hell is going on? He said the moment she opened the door. No greeting. No preamble. No acknowledgement that he was early and barging in. You ignored me all night. All fucking night, Morgan. You went on a date with someone else. Literally the same day I suggested an open relationship. The same day. Who is he? What's happening? This is insane. Morgan stepped aside to let him in, maintaining the calm she'd spent the morning building. She'd woken up at 6, made coffee she didn't drink, changed outfits 3 times before settling on work clothes that felt like armor. She'd rehearsed this conversation in her head, planned what she would say, how she would say it. But seeing Kyle here, panicked and angry, and clearly not understanding what he'd set in motion, made her realize no amount of rehearsal could prepare her for this. "You're right," she said, keeping her voice level. "We need to talk." "Damn right we need to talk. Morgan, I thought we were going to have a mature conversation about this. I thought we'd discuss boundaries, set ground rules, figure out how to make this work. I didn't mean you should immediately run off with the first guy who looked at you funny. That's not what open relationships are about." Morgan felt something cold settle in her chest. "What are they about, Kyle?" "What?" "Open relationships. What are they about? Explain it to me." "They're about freedom. About not limiting ourselves based on arbitrary social constructs. About being honest about our needs and mature enough to handle complexity." "Whose needs, Kyle?" He had the grace to look uncomfortable. "Both of our needs." "Interesting. Because from where I'm standing, it seems like it was about your needs. You wanted to sleep with Brittany without guilt. You wanted the freedom to explore other options while keeping me as your safe fallback. You wanted to have your cake and eat it too, have me waiting at home while you screwed around with the ethical non-monogamy crowd." Kyle's jaw worked. "I wanted us to have a conversation first, to set boundaries. To give you permission to sleep with Brittany while I sat home alone waiting for you to come back?" Morgan's voice was sharp. "That's what you actually wanted, Kyle. Don't pretend otherwise. That's not fair. What's not fair is you asking for an open relationship on our anniversary. What's not fair is you already having lunch plans with another woman before we'd even finished discussing it. What's not fair is you pretending this was about us, when really it was about you wanting freedom without consequences. So what? You went out and found someone else out of spite." "No. I went out with someone who's been interested in me for a while. Someone who sees me as more than a convenience. Someone who actually wants to be with me instead of keeping me as a backup plan while he explores other options." Kyle's face went red. "Who is he? Do I know him?" "That's not relevant." "The hell it's not. You're my girlfriend." "No." Morgan said it firmly. "I'm not. That's what I asked you here to tell you. We're done, Kyle. I'm breaking up with you." Silence. Kyle stared at her like she'd grown a second head. "You're breaking up with me because I suggested an open relationship." "I'm breaking up with you because you made it clear I'm not what you want. You want freedom. You want options. You want to explore. So go explore. But you're going to do it single. I'm not going to be your safety net." "Morgan, that's not... We've been together 2 years. You're overreacting." "I'm finally reacting appropriately. I should have done this last night when you asked, but I was too shocked, too hurt. I thought maybe I was being unreasonable. Maybe I was too traditional. Maybe I should be more evolved and mature about this." She laughed bitterly. "But you know what I realized? I don't want an open relationship. I don't want to share my partner. I don't want to be with someone who doesn't think I'm enough, so I'm done." "You can't just... We live together." "No, we don't. You have a drawer here and a key. That's not living together. Pack up your stuff, leave the key. We're done." Kyle's expression shifted from shocked to angry. "This is about him, isn't it? Whoever you went out with last night. He's in your head. He convinced you to break up with me." "No one convinced me of anything. I made this decision myself, based on what you said, what you wanted, what you made clear about how you see me and this relationship." "Who is he, Morgan?" "It doesn't matter. It matters to me. You were mine yesterday." "I was never yours, Kyle. I was with you. There's a difference. And now I'm not even that." Morgan moved to the door, opened it. Please leave. Take your stuff. Leave the key. Don't contact me again. Morgan. Leave, Kyle. Now. He stood there for a long moment, clearly trying to decide if he could argue his way out of this. Then he saw her expression and realized he couldn't. This is a mistake, he said as he gathered his things. You're going to regret this. The only thing I regret is not doing it sooner. After he left, Morgan sat on her couch and cried. Not because she'd lost Kyle. That relationship had been dying for a while. She could see that now. But because 2 years of her life had just ended in her living room before 9 a.m. on a Tuesday. Her phone buzzed. Emilio. How are you? Just 2 words, but they made Morgan smile through her tears. I broke up with him. Good. Are you okay? I'm sad, but I think it's more about the time wasted than about losing him specifically. Does that make sense? Perfect sense. Take the morning. Come in when you're ready. And Morgan? Yeah? I'm proud of you. That took courage. After hanging up, Morgan let herself cry for 20 more minutes. Then she showered, redid her makeup, and went to work. Emilio looked up when she entered his office. You came in. I'm professional even when my personal life is a disaster. Your personal life isn't a disaster. It's evolving. He stood, moved around his desk. How do you feel? Relieved, sad, angry, confused. All of it at once. That's normal. Ending a 2-year relationship isn't easy, even when it's the right thing to do. He touched her face gently. Do you regret last night? No. Last night was perfect. I don't want you to think I'm using you as a rebound, or that I jumped from him to you without thinking. I don't think that. I think you were in a bad relationship. Your ex gave you an excuse to leave, and I gave you a reason to. Those are all different things. What if I'm not ready? For this? For you? Then we go slow. We date properly. I court you like you deserve to be courted. And we see where it goes. He smiled slightly. But I'm very patient when it comes to things I want. And I want you, Morgan. I'm willing to wait until you're ready. What if I'm ready now? Are you? Morgan thought about Kyle's text messages, about him freaking out the moment she exercised the freedom he'd demanded, about 2 years of feeling like she was never quite enough. Then she thought about Emilio, about the way he'd looked at her at dinner, about the kiss that had made her feel wanted and valued and special. I think I am. I think I've been ready for a while. I just didn't know it until you gave me permission to want something different. Emilio pulled her close. Then let's do this properly. You're officially single as of this morning. I'm officially pursuing you. And everyone in this office is going to know you're off limits because you're mine. Possessive much? Completely. I don't share well. Never have. His hand slid into her hair. Is that a problem? No. After Kyle wanting to share me with whoever, possessive sounds perfect. He kissed her then, right there in his office, and Morgan felt the last of her doubts melt away. This was right. This was what she'd been missing. This was what it felt like to be someone's first choice. The rest of the day was surprisingly normal. Morgan worked, Emilio had meetings, they maintained professional boundaries in front of others. But there were moments. His hand brushing hers when she delivered coffee, the way he looked at her when he thought no one was watching, the smile he gave her that was different from his professional one. Around 3 p.m., Morgan's phone blew up with messages from Kyle. I thought about it, and I'm willing to forget about the open relationship idea. We can be exclusive. Just come home. We can fix this. Morgan, please. I made a mistake. I wasn't thinking clearly. I don't want an open relationship. I want you. Who is he? Just tell me who he is. I deserve to know. This is ridiculous. You're overreacting to one conversation. We can work through this. Are you seriously throwing away 2 years over one disagreement? Morgan showed the messages to Emilio during her afternoon check-in. He's spiraling, Emilio observed, realizing what he lost. He's realizing I actually meant it when I left, that I wasn't just trying to make a point. Are you tempted to go back? God, no. I'm just annoyed that he thinks he can walk this back with a few text messages, like the last 24 hours didn't happen. Block him. What? Block his number. He had his chance. He asked for freedom. You gave it to him permanently. Now he needs to deal with the consequences. Emilio leaned back in his chair. Unless you want to keep talking to him? I don't. I just feel guilty about cutting him off completely. Don't. You don't owe him anything. He wanted an open relationship so he could sleep with someone else. You said no by walking away. That's your right. Morgan blocked Kyle's number. It felt final, decisive, freeing. That evening, Emilio took her to dinner again. Different restaurant, same intensity. Is this what dating you is like? Morgan asked over pasta. Fancy dinners every night? This is what courting you is like. I want to show you what you deserve, what you should have been getting for the past 2 years. He reached across the table. But if you prefer casual, pizza and Netflix, walks in the park, whatever makes you happy, I can do that too. I like this. The effort, the intention, the feeling like I matter. You do matter, more than you know. They were finishing dessert when someone appeared at their table. A woman in her 30s, beautiful, dripping with designer labels. Emilio, she purred. I didn't know you'd be here tonight. Emilio's expression went carefully neutral. Vanessa, I'm on a date. If you'll excuse us. A date? Vanessa's eyes cut to Morgan with obvious assessment. How nice. I don't think we've met. We haven't. Morgan kept her voice polite but cool. Vanessa DeLuca, the woman said. Old friend of Emilio's. Very old friend. We go way back. Not that far back, Emilio said flatly. And we're not friends. We dated briefly 3 years ago. It ended. Now, if you'll excuse us. Oh, don't be like that. We had fun, didn't we? Vanessa touched Emilio's shoulder in a way that was far too familiar. You should call me sometime. I'm sure your date won't mind sharing. Morgan's spine straightened. Actually, I would mind. But it's not relevant since Emilio and I are exclusive, so your services won't be needed. Vanessa's smile turned sharp. How quaint. Exclusive. That's adorable. She looked at Emilio. You're really playing house with your secretary? Assistant, Morgan corrected coldly. I'm his executive assistant, and soon to be his girlfriend, and the woman who's asking you politely to leave before I stop being polite. Emilio, you can't be serious. She's mine, Emilio interrupted. And you're leaving. Now. Something in his tone made Vanessa step back. She looked between them, realized she'd miscalculated, and left with a final cutting remark about playing in the shallow end. After she was gone, Emilio took Morgan's hand. I'm sorry. That was inappropriate of her. Old girlfriend? Briefly. She wanted something I wasn't willing to give. We ended badly. I haven't seen her in over a year. She seems delightful. She's vindictive and entitled. Complete opposite of you. He squeezed her hand. Are you okay? I'm fine, though I might have overstepped calling myself your soon-to-be girlfriend. You didn't overstep. That's exactly what you are. He smiled. Though I was planning to ask you properly. Make it official. Ask me. Now? Now. Emilio stood, pulled Morgan to her feet, and right there in the restaurant said, Morgan Reed, will you be my girlfriend? Exclusively, officially, with the full intention of me showing you every day what it means to be valued and chosen and prioritized? Morgan's heart soared. Yes. He kissed her right there, and Morgan heard someone at another table start clapping. Then more people joined in. When they pulled apart, half the restaurant was applauding. Well, Morgan said, blushing, that's one way to make it official. The only way. I wanted everyone to know you're taken, especially women like Vanessa who think they have a chance. They left the restaurant hand in hand, and Morgan felt like she was floating. 24 hours ago, her boyfriend had asked for an open relationship. Now she was officially dating her boss. The upgrade was incredible. At her apartment, Emilio walked her to the door. Can I come in, just for a bit? Yes. Inside, he pulled her close. I need to tell you something. Okay? I've wanted this, you, for 2 years. And now that I have you, I'm not going to be casual about it. I'm going to be intense, possessive, probably overwhelming. And if that's too much, you need to tell me now. Why would that be too much? Because I'm not Kyle. I don't do half measures. I don't share. I don't believe in open relationships or ethical non-monogamy or any of that bullshit. When I'm with someone, I'm with them completely, and I expect the same in return. Good. Because I don't want half measures either. I'm done settling for men who treat me like an option. You're not an option. You're the only choice. My only choice. He kissed her deeply. And tomorrow, everyone at work is going to know it. Won't that be awkward? Probably, but I don't care. You're mine. I want people to know that. They spent the rest of the evening on her couch, talking and kissing and learning each other. When Emilio finally left around midnight, Morgan felt more settled than she had in months. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. It's Kyle. You blocked me, so I'm using my coworker's phone. We need to talk. This is insane. You're throwing away 2 years because I made one suggestion. Call me. Morgan blocked that number too. Then she texted Emilio. Kyle's using other people's phones to contact me, being persistent. His response was immediate. Give me his number. I'll handle it. Emilio, no, you don't have to. I want to. Trust me. Morgan sent Kyle's number. 5 minutes later, her phone rang. Emilio. It's handled. He won't bother you again. What did you do? I explained very clearly that you're unavailable, uninterested, and under my protection, and that continued harassment would be unwise for his health and career. You threatened him. I strongly suggested he redirect his energy elsewhere. There's a difference. You're terrible. I'm protective. There's a difference. His voice softened. Get some sleep. I'll see you tomorrow. And Morgan? Yeah? Thank you for choosing me. Thank you for being worth choosing. Morgan fell asleep smiling, her phone blissfully silent, her future suddenly bright. She'd lost a mediocre boyfriend who wanted an open relationship. She'd gained a powerful man who wanted only her. The trade was more than fair. It was perfect. Going public at work was easier than Morgan expected. Emilio called a morning meeting with the senior staff. Casual, routine, nothing that would raise alarms. Morgan stood beside him at the conference table, professional but no longer hiding. Quick announcement before we start, Emilio said. Morgan and I are dating. It's serious. It's not affecting our work, and anyone who has a problem with it can bring it to me directly. Questions? Silence. Then Patricia from legal smiled. About time. We've been running a pool on when you'd finally make a move. I had this week, so I win $200. Thank you both for your timing. The tension broke. People laughed. A few offered congratulations. Most just shrugged and moved on to the actual meeting agenda. Afterward, Patricia pulled Morgan aside. You good? Dating the boss can be complicated. I'm good. Really good, actually. He's intense, very possessive. Are you okay with that? After my ex asked for an open relationship 2 days ago, possessive sounds perfect. Patricia's eyes widened. Wait, your boyfriend asked for an open relationship and you immediately started dating Emilio? That's badass. That's basically what happened, yes. Good for you. And for the record, Emilio's been watching you like a hawk for 2 years. Everyone knew he was into you. You were the only one who didn't notice. Morgan went back to her desk feeling lighter. It was done. Official. No more hiding. Around 11, her desk phone rang. Reception. Morgan, there's someone here to see you. Says he's your boyfriend, Kyle Anderson. Morgan's stomach dropped. He's not my boyfriend. We broke up. Tell him I'm not available. He's being pretty insistent. I'll handle it. Morgan hung up and went to find Emilio. He was in his office on a call, but took one look at her expression and immediately said, I'll call you back. Kyle's downstairs. He told reception he's my boyfriend. They're trying to send him up. Emilio's expression went cold. Stay here. Emilio. Stay here, Morgan. I'll handle this. He was out the door before she could argue. Morgan waited, her heart hammering. She shouldn't be scared. Kyle wasn't violent, but he was persistent and clearly not accepting that they were done. 15 minutes later, Emilio returned, his expression dangerous. He's gone. He won't be back. What did you do? I explained that you're unavailable, that continued harassment constitutes stalking, and that if he shows up at your workplace or home again, I'll have him arrested. I also explained that I have connections with both the police department and his employer, and that making my girlfriend's life difficult would be very bad for his career prospects. You threatened his job. I explained consequences. There's a difference. He moved closer. Morgan, I need you to understand something. I protect what's mine. That's who I am. If you're uncomfortable with that, I'm not uncomfortable. I'm relieved. She touched his face. Thank you. For handling it. For protecting me. For caring enough to make sure he knows I'm serious. You're mine now. That means you're under my protection. Anyone who bothers you answers to me. His hand covered hers. Is that okay? That's more than okay. The rest of the week passed without incident. Kyle didn't show up, didn't call, didn't text. Morgan heard through mutual friends that he'd gotten back together with Brittany, the client he'd wanted to sleep with guilt-free. Apparently they were exploring ethical non-monogamy together. Morgan didn't care. She was too busy being courted by Emilio Ricci. He took her to dinner every night that first week, learned her favorite foods, her favorite movies, the way she took her coffee, started keeping her favorite tea in his office, remembered she didn't like cilantro and ordered accordingly, noticed when she was stressed and found ways to help without being asked. You're very attentive, Morgan said one night over dinner. I'm interested. There's a difference. When I care about someone, I pay attention. Kyle didn't pay attention. I don't think he ever learned my coffee order in 2 years. Kyle's an idiot. We've established this. Emilio reached across the table. Tell me something you've always wanted to do but never have. Like what? Anything. Travel, experience, adventure. Something you put off because Kyle wasn't interested, or you didn't have time. Morgan thought about it. I've always wanted to learn Italian. My grandmother was Italian, and I grew up hearing her speak it, but I never had time to take classes. I'll teach you. What? I'm fluent, native speaker. I'll teach you Italian. He smiled. Consider it part of the courting process. Private lessons at my place, lots of pasta, mandatory hand gestures, very romantic. That sounds perfect. They started lessons the next week. Emilio was patient but demanding, exactly like he was at work. Morgan learned vocabulary, pronunciation, embarrassing herself repeatedly while he laughed and corrected her with kisses. Your accent is terrible, he said one evening after she'd mangled a sentence. I'm trying. I know, it's adorable. Say it again. By the end of the month, Morgan could order food in Italian, insult people creatively, and tell Emilio she loved him in 3 different regional dialects. "You're a good student," he said, after one particularly successful lesson. "I'm motivated. Good teacher. Interesting subject matter." "Interesting subject matter?" "You, in your apartment, teaching me. It's very—" She trailed off, blushing. "Very what?" "Very attractive. The whole competent, patient, slightly demanding thing. It works for me." Emilio pulled her into his lap. "Good to know. I'll keep being competent and demanding." "Please do." They kissed, and Morgan thought about how different this was from Kyle. How alive she felt. How valued. How Emilio looked at her like she was the most important person in his world. "I love you," she said quietly. "I know it's fast. I know we've only been dating a month. But I love you." Emilio's expression softened completely. "I love you too. Have loved you for a while. Since probably month 3 of you working for me. You wore a yellow dress to a client meeting, and I forgot how to speak English for a full minute. That's very specific. I remember everything about you. Every outfit, every smile, every moment you bit your lip while concentrating. I've been cataloging you for 2 years, Morgan. I already knew I loved you. I was just waiting for you to catch up. I caught up. You did, and now you're mine. Completely, officially, no open relationships or sharing or any of that bullshit. Just us. Forever, if I have my way." Forever sounds good. 3 months after Kyle asked for an open relationship, Morgan ran into him at a coffee shop. She was picking up lunch for herself and Emilio. They'd started a routine of eating together in his office when schedules allowed. Kyle was in line ahead of her, looking tired and stressed. "Morgan," he said, spotting her. "Hey, how are you?" "I'm good. Really good." "That's good." He shifted uncomfortably. "Look, I wanted to apologize for how things ended, for the open relationship thing. I wasn't thinking clearly." "It's fine, Kyle. Water under the bridge." "I heard you're dating someone. Your boss?" "Yes, Emilio. We've been together for 3 months. That's—" He struggled with what to say. "That's good. I'm glad you're happy. Things with Brittany didn't work out. The whole open relationship thing was a disaster. Turns out I'm more traditional than I thought." "I could have told you that." "Yeah." He looked at her, really looked at her. "You look different, happier, confident, like something changed." "Everything changed. I stopped settling for someone who made me feel like I wasn't enough. I found someone who makes me feel like I'm everything." She smiled. "That makes a difference." "He treats you well?" "He treats me like I hung the moon, like I'm the most important person in his world, like I'm chosen every single day." She touched Kyle's arm briefly. "I hope you find that too. But it won't be with someone who wants an open relationship as backup. It'll be with someone you're so sure about that the idea of being with anyone else never even crosses your mind. Like you and Emilio. Exactly like me and Emilio." She got her coffee and left, didn't look back. That night, she told Emilio about the encounter. "How did it feel, seeing him?" "Fine, neutral, like running into an old acquaintance instead of someone I spent 2 years with." "Is that weird?" "That's healthy. It means you've moved on. That what we have is real enough to make the past irrelevant." He pulled her close. "Are you happy, Morgan?" Deliriously, terrifyingly. "Sometimes I wake up and can't believe this is real." "It's real. I'm real. This is real. And I'm not going anywhere." He kissed her forehead. "You know what the best part is?" "What?" If Kyle hadn't asked for an open relationship, we might never have gotten here. He freed you up, gave me the opening I needed. So in a weird way, I'm grateful to him. Don't tell him that. His ego couldn't handle knowing he did us a favor. Our secret. He smiled. Though I'm still going to be protective and possessive and probably overbearing about you. That doesn't change. Good. I like protective and possessive. After Kyle wanting to share me, possessive is perfect. You keep saying that. Because it's true. You make me feel valued, wanted, chosen. That's all I ever wanted. Then you'll keep getting it, every day, for as long as you'll have me. What about forever? Forever works. Epilogue. 6 months later. Morgan moved in with Emilio on a Saturday in May, when spring was turning to summer, and Boston was finally shaking off the last remnants of winter cold. Not because he pushed. Emilio had been surprisingly patient about the whole thing, saying he'd wait as long as she needed. But Morgan had been spending every night at his place anyway, going home only to grab clean clothes and check her mail. Her apartment had started feeling like a storage unit instead of a home. "You're sure?" he'd asked when she suggested it one morning over coffee in his kitchen. Their kitchen now. "I don't want you to feel pressured. We can keep doing what we're doing. 2 places, maximum flexibility, no rush." "I'm sure. I'm tired of living out of an overnight bag. I'm tired of having my things split between 2 apartments. I'm tired of leaving here every morning to go home and shower when I could just shower here and actually live here." She'd taken his hand. "I want to wake up next to you every morning. I want my clothes in your closet and my books on your shelves. I want my coffee mug to have a permanent spot in this kitchen. I want this to be our home, not just yours." "Our home," he'd repeated, his voice going soft in that way it did when emotions caught him off guard. "I really like the sound of that." "Me too." They'd spent the weekend moving her belongings, Emilio insisting on hiring professional movers despite Morgan's protests that she didn't have that much stuff. He'd been wrong about that. 2 years of living alone meant she'd accumulated more than she'd realized. "You have approximately 8,000 books," he'd said, watching movers carry in the 4th box labeled Books, Living Room. "We're going to need more shelves. You knew I liked to read. I knew you read. I didn't know you'd single-handedly supporting the publishing industry's entire operations." But he was smiling, already mentally rearranging furniture to accommodate her collection. "We'll build more shelves, make a whole library wall, give your books a proper home." "Our books now," Morgan had corrected. "Our books, our home, our life." He'd pulled her close despite the movers working around them. "I like the sound of all of that." Now, standing in their living room surrounded by boxes, Morgan felt overwhelmingly happy. "This is real," she said. "We're really doing this. We're really doing this." Emilio pulled her close. "You, me, this apartment, forever. How does that feel?" "Perfect. Absolutely perfect." Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Hey Morgan, it's Kyle. Using a new number. Brittany and I broke up. I've been thinking about you a lot. I made a mistake. Can we talk?" Morgan showed Emilio the message. He read it, his expression darkening. "What do you want to do?" "Block the number. Move on with my life. Live happily ever after with my possessive, protective boyfriend who treats me like I'm the best thing that ever happened to him. I can arrange that." He took her phone, blocked the number, handed it back. "Done. Now, where were we?" "We were celebrating moving in together by ordering too much takeout and christening every room in this apartment. I like how you think." They ordered Thai food, opened wine, and spent the evening making their apartment truly theirs. Later, wrapped in Emilio's arms in their bed, Morgan thought about how much had changed in 6 months. Her boyfriend had asked for an open relationship. The next day, she'd been dating the Mafia boss. And now, 6 months later, she was living with him, building a life with him, planning a future with him. "What are you thinking about?" Emilio asked, his hand tracing patterns on her shoulder. "How grateful I am that Kyle asked for an open relationship." "That's a weird thing to be grateful for." "Not really. If he hadn't, I'd probably still be with him. Unhappy, undervalued, settling. Instead, I'm here, with you, living my best life." She turned to face him. "So yeah, I'm grateful. He freed me up to find something real." "Something real," Emilio repeated. "That's what this is. Real, permanent, non-negotiable. You're mine, Morgan. Completely. Forever. Good, because you're mine too. And I don't share well either. Perfect match." They fell asleep tangled together, and Morgan's last thought before drifting off was that she'd never been happier. 6 months ago, her boyfriend had asked for an open relationship. Now she was living with a man who wanted only her. The upgrade was everything, and she was never settling for less again. Final note. Kyle eventually married someone else. They had an open relationship that lasted 6 months before imploding spectacularly. He spent years trying to recreate what he'd had with Morgan, never quite succeeding. Emilio and Morgan got engaged a year after moving in together. Married 6 months after that. Had 2 kids and a life so full and happy that Morgan sometimes couldn't believe it was real. But it was real. All because one day, her mediocre boyfriend asked for an open relationship. And the next day, she was dating the Mafia boss who'd been waiting 2 years for his chance. Sometimes the best things happen when you stop settling. And Morgan had stopped settling the moment she'd said yes to Emilio Ricci. Best decision she ever made.